Whispers in the hollow. Late one October evening, the wind whispered through the barren trees of Hollow-Crік. The full moon hung low, brushing silver light across the forest floor. In the distance, an old inn stood silent, its windows dark, except one upstairs window glowing faintly. Marісоль had not meant to go into the forest. She'd gone to find her lost dog Bruno, who bolted after the thunderstorm. But as she wandered, a shadow seemed to follow her. When Bruno's bark echoed, she turned. And he was gone again. Only silence responded. When she returned hours later, soaked and shaken, the inn was empty. No staff, no guests. Just the creak of floorboards and the soft hum of wind under the eaves. The single flickering light in the upstairs window was the last thing she saw before her world grew dark. The next morning, a stranger arrived in Hollow-Crік. His name was Jейкоб, a wandering photographer, chasing rumors of strange lights and forgotten places. He carried a camera, a flashlight, and a leather-bound journal filled with stories nobody believed. In the village tavern, he found Marісоль trembling, clutching a mug of coffee like an anchor. When he asked, she told him what had happened. Bruno vanished, the inn was empty, and there had been that glowing window. No one in the village believed her. But Jейкоб did. He offered to help. He wanted to see it for himself. He believed every mystery had a reason, or at least a photograph waiting to be taken. That evening, they walked into the forest together. The path was silent, as if the trees were listening. Mist drifted low between the trunks. The inn appeared through the fog, peeling paint, vines on windows, the faint light still flickering upstairs. Inside, the air was damp and cold. Furniture sat under white sheets like ghosts waiting for guests. Dust swirled in Jacob's flashlight beam. Somewhere, water dripped steadily. They passed a broken mirror. For a moment, Jейкоб thought he saw eyes in it. Not his, not hers. Eyes reflecting from the other side. He blinked, and they were gone. From upstairs came a sound, a whisper, soft but clear. Marісоль. Jейкоб froze. Marisол's eyes widened. "Don't answer," she said, but her voice trembled, and her feet moved anyway. They climbed the stairs. The hallway was long, lined with closed doors. At the very end was the room with the glowing window. The door creaked open by itself. Inside stood an old bed covered in dust. Above it hung a portrait of a woman who looked exactly like Marісоль. Same eyes, same jaw, same faint scar above the brow. The window pulsed with light. The air thickened. Shadows stretched along the walls like veins. Bruno's bark echoed faintly, from somewhere deep inside the house. Marісolь took a step closer. Jейкоб reached for her, but the door slammed behind them. The portrait's eyes glowed red. The whisper came again, colder now. "You never left," Jейкоб shouted, but his voice came back distorted, like something underwater. He grabbed Marісol's arm. "We have to go." She turned to him, tears streaking her cheeks. "That's her voice," she whispered. "My mother's voice. But she's been dead for 10 years. Jейкоб pulled harder. The portrait rattled on the wall. He slammed his shoulder into it, and it swung open like a door. Behind it, there was no wall, only a tunnel of silver light, endless and humming. Marісolь hesitated. Then, as if drawn by something she could not resist, she stepped through. The light swallowed her whole. Jейкоб screamed her name and jumped in after her. He landed in silence. The air shimmered like water. Around him stretched an impossible hallway made of mirrors. Each one reflected a different scene. Marісolь as a child, Marісolь laughing, Marісolь crying. He saw himself too, older, thinner, his eyes hollow. He ran through the reflections, calling her name. "Marісolь!" From somewhere ahead came her voice. "Jейкоб, please." He followed, stumbling through doors that led into pieces of their memories. The cafe where they'd met, a rainy night at a train station, a candlelit dinner that had never happened. The world folded over itself like a dream. At the end of the last hallway, she stood waiting, pale, glowing faintly, her hair moving as if underwater. "I was waiting," she said softly. He reached out. She smiled, eyes full of both sorrow and peace. "You came back for me. I never left you." Their hands met. The mirrors cracked. The world shook. Light poured through every fracture, brighter and brighter, until everything disappeared. When Jacob opened his eyes, he was lying on the floor of the inn. The window glass was shattered. Dawn light streamed through. Marісоль was beside him, unconscious but breathing. Her fingers twitched. Then her eyes opened. He burst into tears. She smiled weakly. "You found me." He helped her up. As they walked downstairs, the inn changed around them. The dust faded. The walls brightened. The portrait was gone. Outside, the